Many people deal with a strange buzzing in their feet or a constant burning in their hands. It's annoying at first, but then it becomes painful. Most professionals focus on the symptoms. They give you something to numb the pain. But that's like putting tape over your car's check engine light. It doesn't fix the engine, it just hides the problem. To really fix this, we have to talk about peripheral neuropathy and why it actually happens. Most practitioners fail to explain the mechanism behind it. They don't tell you that your nerves are literally starving. They are crying out for help because they are being suffocated. You need to know the why before you can ever hope to fix the what. Why does it start in the feet? It's because of the long nerves. Think about your body as a city. Your heart is the power station. Your feet are the furthest suburbs. To get energy to those areas, the body sends long cables of nerves. These are the longest cells in your body. Because they are so far from the heart, they are the hardest to maintain. They depend on oxygen and fuel to stay alive. If the blood flow drops or fuel quality is bad, these distant areas suffer first. They are the first to lose power during a crisis. When your feet tingle, it's a sign that the suburbs are losing their connection to the main grid. The fuel isn't reaching the end of the line. The biggest enemy is glucose overload. High blood sugar is the primary driver. When there is too much sugar, it acts like a slow poison. Most think of diabetes as just a sugar issue, but it's really a nerve and blood vessel issue. Other things can trigger this too. Chemotherapy drugs are toxic to nerves. Hypothyroidism, autoimmune diseases, and viruses can attack the system. Some get it from Lyme disease. All these triggers lead to the same result. The nerves can't function. The supply lines are cut and the nerves wither. It doesn't matter if the cause is sugar or a virus. The result is a nerve that is dying for nutrients. The progression is scary. It starts with a weird sensation. Maybe it feels like your sock is bunched up. Then it turns into burning. Some feel like they are walking on hot coals. Others become hypersensitive. A light bedsheet might feel like a sharp knife. It can even feel like an itch you can't scratch because the problem is deep inside the nerve. If you ignore these signs, the damage gets worse. You can lose feeling entirely. This is dangerous because you could step on a nail and not know it. That's how ulcers start, and eventually it leads to gangrene. At that point, the tissue is dead. You lose the limb because the nerves couldn't tell the body there was a problem. Let's look at the nerve structure. Imagine an electrical wire. The copper inside carries the signal and the plastic coating keeps it from leaking out. In your body, that coating is the myelin sheath. In neuropathy, that insulation breaks down. The signal short circuit. This is why you feel shocks. On top of that, there's vascular damage. Tiny blood vessels supply the nerves with nutrients. When these vessels are damaged by glucose overload, they shrivel up. The nerves are left without oxygen. They are starving because the blood can't reach them. It is a silent decay that happens over years of metabolic stress. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We need to understand the energy factory of the cells to find the real solution. This process of cellular starvation is what leads to the permanent damage we all want to avoid. To understand why the nerves are starving, we have to look inside the cells. Every cell has a tiny engine called the mitochondria. Think of it as the energy factory. Its job is to take the food you eat and turn it into fuel the body can use. But there is a major problem when we deal with glucose overload. It's like trying to put too much gasoline into a small engine. The engine can't handle it. Instead of creating clean energy, the whole system starts to smoke. When there is too much sugar in the blood, the mitochondria get overwhelmed. They are trying to process all that fuel, but they just can't keep up. The factory floor becomes a mess. This isn't just about weight gain or energy levels. This is a crisis happening at the molecular level inside your nerves. Because your nerves are so long and thin, they are very sensitive to these energy fluctuations. Imagine a car's carburetor. It needs the right mix of fuel and air to create a spark. In your body, that spark comes from vitamins and minerals. These are the cofactors that help the engine run smoothly. But when you flood the system with sugar, the demand for these nutrients skyrockets. It's like running a motor at full speed for days on end. The spark plugs eventually burn out. The glucose has to be broken down before it even reaches the mitochondria. But this process creates an enzymatic bottleneck. Because you have so much sugar, you use up all your stored vitamins just trying to process the first step of the journey. This leaves nothing left for the rest of the repair work. The system gets dammed up. Instead of flowing smoothly, the metabolic pathway becomes a stagnant pond. This is where things get dangerous. Without the right nutrients to clear the way, the body starts to accumulate lactic acidosis. You might feel this as a deep ache, a cramp, or a sharp burning sensation. On top of that, free radicals start to bounce around like tiny pinballs. These are unstable molecules that damage everything they touch. They tear into the cell walls and further hurt the already struggling nerves. When the main energy highway is blocked, the body doesn't just stop. It tries to find a detour. It switches to a backup plan called the sorbitol pathway. Now, in a healthy person, this pathway is barely used. But when the glucose overload is too high, the body forces the sugar down this side road. The problem is that this plan B is incredibly toxic over the long term. As the body processes sugar this way, it creates a byproduct called sorbitol. Unlike other substances, sorbitol is very hard for the body to get rid of or move around. It gets trapped inside the cells. Because sorbitol is a type of sugar alcohol, it acts like a powerful sponge for water. It pulls water into the cells, causing them to swell up like overfilled balloons. This is why people with high blood sugar often deal with visible swelling in their legs and feet. But it's not just water weight under the skin, it's happening inside your individual nerve cells. This cellular swelling is devastating for the myelin sheath. The pressure from the fluid inside the cell starts to crack and peel away that protective insulation. It's like a pipe bursting inside a wall and ruining the electrical wiring. This isn't just happening in your feet, either. Sorbitol loves to hang out in the lenses of your eyes. This is exactly how cataracts form. The sugar builds up, the water follows, and the lens becomes cloudy and thick. It's the same process that is destroying your nerves. The nerves are being squeezed from the inside out by this toxic byproduct. They can't breathe, they can't send signals, and the insulation is being ripped apart. This is the structural breakdown that makes neuropathy so hard to treat. You aren't just dealing with pain, you are dealing with a cellular flood that is drowning your nervous system. Now that we understand how the cellular flood of sorbitol happens, we have to talk about how to drain the water and fix the pipes. The most important tool in this process is vitamin B1. Most people know this as thiamine, but there's a major problem with the standard version you find in most stores. Because standard B1 is water-soluble and your nerves are fatty, it has a hard time reaching the inside of the cell where the damage is happening. This is why many people take B1 and do not feel any different. The solution is a specific form called benfotiamine. This is a fat-soluble version of B1 that can pass right through the fatty walls of your cells to unlock the metabolic dam. To get therapeutic results, you usually need a higher dose than what is on a standard multivitamin label. Taking about 300 milligrams 4 times a day is often what it takes to flood the long nerves with the nutrients they have been starving for. Benfotiamine is the protector, but it needs a partner to help repair the damage. This is where alpha-lipoic acid comes in. Think of this as a powerful metabolic cleanup crew that helps the enzymes in the mitochondria process fuel correctly again. Alpha-lipoic acid is special because it can work in both the watery and fatty parts of your cells, making it the perfect teammate for benfotiamine. It helps neutralize those dangerous free radicals that have been bouncing around and tearing up your nerve endings. To complete this repair team, you also need the support of the rest of the B-complex family. Vitamins like B2, B3, and B5 are like the support staff on an assembly line. These vitamins ensure that the metabolic process goes all the way to the end, creating clean energy instead of toxic waste that destroys your insulation. However, you must realize that supplements are not a magic wand. If you keep eating the same high-carb diet that caused the glucose overload in the first place, no amount of benfotiamine will save you. It is like trying to bail water out of a sinking boat while there is still a massive hole in the bottom. To truly heal, the foundation must be a lifestyle change. This starts with a strict low-carb diet. By lowering your sugar intake, you take the pressure off the mitochondria and stop the production of that toxic sorbitol. Adding intermittent fasting to your routine is another game changer. Fasting gives your body the time it needs to go into repair mode. It allows the cells to clean out the metabolic junk and start rebuilding the myelin sheath without being interrupted by new spikes of sugar. Without changing how you eat, you are only treating the symptoms, not the cause. If these changes are not made, the condition can move beyond just a tingling in your toes. Long-term diabetes and nerve damage eventually hit the autonomic nervous system. This is the system that keeps your heart beating and your stomach digesting without you even thinking about it. If these nerves get damaged, you might feel like your heart is skipping beats, or you might deal with severe digestive issues because your body cannot move food through the system efficiently. This is a very serious stage of the metabolic crisis, but even at this point, the body has an amazing ability to heal if you give it the right tools. When you combine high-dose benfotiamine and alpha-lipoic acid with a commitment to cutting out the sugar, the results can be life-changing. Many people experience 100% relief from the burning and pain over time. The nerves finally stop screaming for help because they are finally getting the oxygen and fuel they need to function. This journey takes patience because nerves grow slowly, but by fixing the root cause, you can finally get your life back. Start focusing on your nutrition today and look into deeper dietary studies to make sure this never happens again. You deserve to live pain-free.